Hello, welcome once again to the Forward Compatible Podcast. This is episode 52 for February 4th, 2013. My name's Tony, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow podcaster, Jason.
I have to get over to the table.
And unfortunately, as many of you noticed, we are a little bit late this week because of Super Bowl Sunday.
Puppy Bowl!
We wanted to watch the game, and of course, because of that, it was a little hard to get everybody together, and Mark is unable to join us this week.
What you're trying to say is you guys were too drunk to come over yesterday and record.
I would have done it last night, shitface. I didn't care. I so would have did it.
Why was that not an option?
But we voted on today as a smarter idea, so we went with this.
Mark's dead.
Yeah, Mark died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I get to say it.
You get to say it.
I get to say it. It's all Mark's fault.
So how was your week, good sir?
Oh, it was extremely boring.
I can't believe you're not enjoying this more. When my winter, I'm similar to you in how I'm in winter. I only work a day or two a week in the winter, but in the summer I'm slammed. I would love to just be off for 2 weeks at a time.
Well, we're going. I believe this is the third week now.
I agree that eventually it'd get boring, but I think that would take 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, I'm as lazy as I am. I get bored very easily if I don't have something to preoccupy myself. Hence the logo changes and the stupid pictures that have been going up on Facebook.
The one where you made me look like I'm a gay disco dancer.
Hey, you know what? Shannon drew the picture. Okay, yeah. I just cut it out and made you sparkle.
No, yeah, you brought all that sparkly shit in. That was
You're supposed to be invisible.
I look very, very, heterosexual on the Forward Compatible page, but that fucking glistening glitter bullshit you put all over me.
It's not getting changed. It's staying. I also did 6 other pictures for Blacklist for coming up. That you guys got to see, but the fans didn't.
You guys will get to see those when we get to those episodes. We got a few more of those in the works.
Yeah. Besides that, watching movies and playing video games, laying around the house, and lost 6 pounds.
There you go.
That's great.
I did a whole lot of nothing. Laid around, watched TV, played video games. I didn't do much. About the same shit as I always do in the winter. Worked a little. So, I guess we could kick the show off with our weekly roundtable and catch everybody up on what we've been playing since the last time we all spoke.
Well, first off, we're sitting at a square table, and it's only you and I.
I give no fucks.
And so even if Mark's here, it's a triangle.
It's an ode. It's an ode to King Arthur.
It's like that stupid Denny's commercial, square meal, whatever.
I was taking a big sip when you said that.
Yeah, I've got a laundry list of games that I've played this past week.
Let's hear it.
Starting off with Gotham City Imposters. Went back to that. Was actually showing my cousin it a little bit because I don't have Call of Duty or Battlefield, and they play those a lot. So I was like, I've got something that's similar. So I showed it. He ended up enjoying it, playing it for a couple hours. Did a couple matches and whatnot. Happy Wars. I did some of that with you, Tony, with Angry Andy, my buddy Naz over in California. If you are an Xbox Gold subscriber, it's a free game. I know Sony does a bunch, but at least Microsoft is trying to get on the bandwagon.
Yeah. Well, I think they're catching way too much shit about how much games they're giving away. Yeah.
And for as childish and stupid as it looks, it's actually pretty fun.
It's a fun game, yeah.
Tony and I did Turtles in Time. We were trying to figure out how to live stream it, but Tony doesn't have the proper stuff, as always.
Yeah. No, it hit us halfway through. We're playing the fucking game, and I'm like, dude, we should have totally live streamed this.
Yeah. And then we made it all the way to Shredder at the end, and Tony died and didn't get the achievement for completing the game.
It was bullshit, because it was the first time I died the whole game, because Jason died earlier in the game, so he got to use his continue the level beforehand.
Yep.
So he gets the achievement. I die. I run out of lives during the final boss and get fucked out of the Shivo.
Yeah. Now, what I should have done is I should have died so that we both could have came back.
We started with 5 continues, yeah.
But, yeah. That's for another day. We'll do that again. We definitely want to get videos of that and whatnot. I also did a little bit of Dragon Ball Z Budokai, because I bought it 3 months ago and played it for about 5 minutes, and then it sat on the shelf. So I finally went back to that. It's just, it didn't hold up as well as it did on the PlayStation 2 back in the day for nostalgia. I did only do Budokai 1. I haven't done 3
yet. Was
that
the shit one? No, 2's the shit one, right?
2's the shit one, but 1 was the one before they started doing the cell shading on it, so the character models look kind of stupid. Of course, I did a little bit of WWE 13. Still advancing my career mode in that. Currently playing as Kurt Angle and just cashed in my money in the bank on The Rock, and won the title at SummerSlam.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take that, Rock.
Did a little bit of Angry Bird Space and a little bit of Angry Bird Star Wars, just because they released an update for Star Wars with a couple new levels. If you've got that, make sure to update it and check it out. Went back to Borderlands 2. Did some multiplayer with that with Angry Andy and Buddy Naz and Naz's fiance. By the way, congratulations.
Oh, did they? He proposed?
Yeah. I guess they did it right around Christmas.
He hasn't said anything to me.
Yeah. He hasn't told me either, but Andy did, so I'm spoiling it, putting it out there. I downloaded The Cave this week after trying out the demo. Demo.
How you liking that? That looks interesting to me.
It's actually a lot of fun. It's got Double Fine's brand of humor. It's got that Tim Burton-esque look to it. But the game it's meta. It makes fun of itself a little bit. It knows it's a video game. Plays a lot like. It's really hard to describe. It's a puzzle-based game with platforming elements. So it very much reminded me of some of the dungeon puzzles in Zelda. But you have to manipulate it and control 3 characters at once.
Yeah, I already had mine picked, but I can only remember 2 right now. One was the knight, and one's the twins.
I did the knight, I did the adventurer, and I did the hillbilly.
Okay,
that was my pick.
They all look kind of cool in their own way because I was watching the trailer and I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. I can't believe I haven't bitten on it yet because I was like, that's day 1 for me, and then it came out and I just haven't had fucking time yet. You know? Yeah,
you just kind of lost track of it. Also on my my iPad, I downloaded a game that I was reading about. I believe it was on IGN called Pixel People. It's this weird mix of like SimCity and Farmville, and basically you start off as the mayor and you clone yourself to make new people, and you crossbreed your clones and stuff to create new classes of people to expand your city and so on and so forth. It's one of those games that relies basically on microtransactions. The difference with this one, though, is that they actually give you the money in the game to kind of do what you need to do. So you don't necessarily have to spend money in it to play it. And as cheesy as it is, it's a good game to play for, a half an hour when you're bored.
Yep.
That's about it for me.
Oh, was that all?
Yeah.
That's all you played?
It's only 10 games.
You know what? We haven't busted this out in a while. Horror of the Week. That was Jason. Horror of the Week. Yeah.
Thank you.
As for myself, like Jason had alluded to, we played Happy Wars and Turtles in Time HD together. I also went back for a little bit of Borderlands 2. I believe I did that either Friday night or Saturday night. I can't remember which one. I remember I was buzzed. I got home after a little bit of the drinky drink. And Andy was on, so I fucking hopped on with him. I'm like, I'll throw it in, and played a little bit with him. Aside from that, on my PlayStation Vita with PlayStation Plus, they gave us Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus for free, which is awesome. I had a lot of fun. That game's really hard. I'm struggling on like the second boss already. Like, I'm already having problems.
That's average for a Ninja Gaiden game.
Yeah. I finally took Crisis 2 out of the cellophane. I picked that up.
Wait, isn't 3 coming out?
Yeah, that's why I picked. No, I did it at Best Buy. I think it was in November. They had a $10 sale, and I picked up Dirt 3, Crisis 2, Homefront. I picked up like 4 or 5 games brand new for $10.
Okay.
I couldn't pass on it for $10. I was like, the season pass or the online pass cost $10. I'm getting the whole game for $10. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I figured I could pretty much trade them in for what I bought them for. So anyway, it was just sitting in cellophane for the last 4 months. I finally opened it. I only played a level or 2. I dig it. I just started it the other night. I'll probably have more on it by next week. I got the Sly Cooper Thievius Raccoonus Platinum this week. And because of that, I moved on to Sly Cooper 2, Band of Thieves. Just started that. So I got a ways to go. And that's about it.
Yeah.
That's what I played this week. So, usually Mark takes over now, but he's dead.
Yep.
So, I'll do the best I can with a little bit of the news.
Sorry, I don't yell.
Okay. Let's start backwards. Okay. Blitz Games. They be closing.
Yeah.
For those who are unfamiliar, these are the fine gentlemen who bring you the Epic Mickey series.
Womp womp.
They had lower than, far, far lower than expected sales, like in the hundreds of thousands, not even in the millions. And I can't think of the dude's name who basically runs the studio off the top of my head, but I remember him blaming weak original Epic Mickey sales on it just being on the Wii. And now just the first game destroyed the sales of the second game, and it was only on one platform. And with Epic Mickey 2, they went on 4 or 5 platforms. I remember I was looking forward to this game because the first one had a lot of problems. One of its major drawbacks was the fact that it was on the Wii, and it looked like crap.
The waggle.
Yeah, and then when the second one came out, I'm like, oh, this will be good. And now they'll smooth out all the rough patches that all the problems that were in the first game. And then I held off on it a little bit, and thank God, because then all the reviews came out, and that'll automatically kill you when so many bad reviews. Like, nobody praised that game. Everybody was giving it 4s out of 10s, 2 out of 5. Metacritic was just raping it the first week, and that'll automatically, people like me that were pretty sure we were going to get it, but just waited a week or two, and it just turned all of us off. And that's how you go to sales in the 200,000 or 300,000s.
Yep.
They put way more money into this than they made, and they be gone.
Well, that's kind of what happens.
No,
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that's kind of like besides the whole THQ debacle that's been going on forever. It's like the first studio this year, I think it is. That's actually
it's January just finished. So yeah. But it is the first one.
So we've kind of talked in great lengths about different reasons that studios close and everything, and that's just kind of what happens when you make a game and the powerhouse behind it doesn't back it. Disney. How can you fuck up a Disney game?
Well, it's not for lack of advertising. I saw commercials for this thing. I saw for it was getting pushed. There was a shitload of marketing at my store. They tried. Just when the reviews come out, if people don't have it pre-ordered and the reviews come out and they're bad, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah,
it's over.
Bye-bye, Epic Mickey.
Yeah. On a similar note, the gentleman over at Resident Evil 6 came out and said that they had sales well below expectations. They expected to sell roughly 7 million copies at least, and they just hit the 4.8 million. So they're a full over 2.2 million away.
Yeah.
I know this was similar to this. I even see it at my store. I mean, we had 100 copies in the back. They shipped us so many because they thought these things were going to sell like hotcakes. Same thing, like IGN came out a couple days before it went on sale, and they're like 4 out of 10. That'll kill you.
Yeah. There was so much Resident Evil bashing going on before the game came out that really hurt it. And I think that's one of the reasons I didn't pick it up. But on the flip side, the people that did give it a chance, that maybe weren't planning on pre-ordering it and picking it up like you, it's probably not a bad game, as it stands.
I don't know. I mean, the only reason we're starting to get rid of some of them at our store is because now they're on sale for like $30.
Yeah.
So if you were on the fence, and now we're starting to get but I can't imagine them making any money off this. They're probably just getting their off these discs. They're just padding numbers sales wise, and they're probably just breaking even on these discs. They're just trying to get it into more people's hands. They figure that way, if there's more people, maybe more people will be buying future DLC or whatever if they could just get these discs out. And they're already printed, so they're not...
Yeah, for a game that got such crappy reviews and scores, that thing's got a shit ton of DLC.
So... next story. This one I don't know too much about. I'm actually going to pass it over to Jason. But the basic... Was he a Borderlands contributor?
No.
Go ahead and take
what it is this week on Twitter, one of the character designers came out and it escalated into this big war. Basically, people were claiming that Tiny Tina, one of the NPCs, Dynamite expert, she's supposed to be like 13, 14 years old. They claim that she's racist because, quote unquote, she has black lingo and she says things like badunkadunk.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that made her Racist.
Apparently, it does.
Isn't that racist, claiming that those words are only for one certain color scheme?
I would say so. I would say so. I guess a little bit further into the story is somebody who worked on the World of Warcraft trading card game got into an argument with the guy from Borderlands, and now he got fired from his job. Randy Pitchford even came out and said, you guys are being stupid. Tiny Tina's not racist. That's not what we were trying to imply. Just leave it alone. We're not changing her.
Fucking A?
Yeah. Yeah, Randy Pitchford. Take that, WoW.
All right, here's one I'll take away because I doubt you care. Killzone on the Vita.
Yeah.
Finally started showing its stuff off to people in the industry. And a lot of the previews came up.
Okay.
And a lot of them are saying this is finally probably the saving grace because the Vita needed a FPS. Because the only two that have come out, the real ones, are Resistance Burning Skies and the Call of Duty Declassified. They were both made by Nihilistic and were both poorly made, poorly received. Sales were like shit. I think between the two of them, they got like a 7 out of 20. If you added them together, their two scores, it was just atrocious. And people that think that's a contributing factor to why the Vita's not selling as well in the West, because American gamers want the whole point of the two sticks was so you could have that first person perspective on the go. And the only two shots they've taken at a first person game have both failed miserably. And people that are getting their hands on this, I mean, they're obviously still under embargoes and they can't really come out and say anything too good, but they were like, you guys, this is good. This is the one.
Okay.
I guess it's running off the Killzone 3 engine, which if any of you have played, is probably one of the best looking games on consoles.
Yes.
It might not be the funnest or whatever, but look-wise, and it's supposed to be right there with it, which is something I haven't understood since the Vita came out. The games look amazing, especially for a handheld, but the Vita is more powerful than the PS3. And I don't understand why the games still look slightly less than a PS3 quality. You know what I mean? They look amazing for a handheld, but they're not even up to PS3's. I think they haven't figured out the hardware.
I was going to say that a big part of it is that, and it's very hard to spend the money that you spend developing a AAA title on a console to spend it on a handheld that's going to reach a third, if that.
Not even.
Yeah. I'm being generous.
Yeah, there's probably like...
You know, when it's just you and I try to keep my bashing down and try to just keep the conversation going a little bit more. So, I mean, I'm trying to... Stupid moth. Sorry, there's a moth here. I don't know why there's a moth in February.
Realistically, the numbers haven't been out in a while. There's probably 4 or 5 million Vitas out there. Probably. Worldwide. Okay?
Hey, they're doing better than Resident Evil and Epic Mickey.
And
just saying.
And you know, like we were saying, even if you're just talking PS3... That's 70 million. If you're talking multi-platform like Call of Duty, you got 75 million Xboxes, 75 million PS3s. You know what I mean? That's 150 million units you're catering to. Like Jason's trying to explain, you're going to get a lot more units. There's a lot more reason to put that talent and effort into trying to sell to 150 million people as opposed to trying to sell to the 5 million people.
That, and I think there's a big issue with Sony when it comes to the handhelds. They've been trying for a number of years to grab a little piece of the pie that Nintendo's got. The one thing I don't think that they've done is do what Nintendo does. Nintendo puts that AAA star power and effort into their AAA titles for handhelds. Pokemon, Mario, Zelda. They use the same teams that develop, or they go to teams that are made specifically to make handhelds to make these titles. And Sony will come out with this phenomenal looking system. Okay, they can do everything besides wipe your ass and brush your teeth, and that's just a patch away. But they don't.
It's coming.
But they don't throw the software behind it to push it. As to where that's where Nintendo is always going to succeed, especially with their handhelds. They push that software. They know what sells and what to do on it. If you're going to make a handheld with 2 analog sticks, you make a fucking shooter. You make a good shooter, and you use your AAA titles to push that market.
Yeah, they put the worst developer in the history. That Nihilistic has made 4 games. They're all terrible.
Yeah.
2 were on the Vita, 2 were on the PS3. None of them were well received. And they're the guys that they put behind Call of Duty. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding? Call of Duty's what could have saved it in the fall. If that game came out and got 9.5 out of 10s and shit, like they're Big Brother console versions do, that thing would have pushed a lot more Vitas out.
You know, as to where you'll see, Pokemon will score higher than Pokemon on a console because they put more effort into it.
Yeah. All right,
get on that shit, Sony. Come on.
Yeah, the Vita's seriously awesome. It's so sad that this is happening. It's fucking awesome. It's the handheld I always wanted since I was a little kid that nothing lived up to. You know what I mean? Game Boy was cool. Game Gear was cool. DS and stuff. This is what you wanted, but there's no software.
I'm gonna spin you a little tale here really quick. We're gonna take a break from the news really quick. Okay, I'm gonna do a little history lesson.
He's busting it down Jay style.
Okay, I grew up with Nintendo. Okay, and then around 7th, 8th grade, my mom shows up with a PlayStation. Fell absolutely in love with it. Pushed Nintendo off to the side. Got a PS2. I like Sony. I like Sony products. Before my iPhone, I had a Sony phone.
Yeah, okay? I like Sony shit too.
All right, so I want to like Sony. They just haven't they haven't appealed to me yet. I want to like a PSP. I wouldn't mind. In the realm of where I do everything on my phone and on my tablet and don't turn my computer on, that console, that handheld is for me, but they haven't given me enough to go out and get it. That's the problem. Like, appeal to me, Sony. I don't want to play Pokemon anymore, but you know what? I'd rather play Pokemon than half the crap that you put out.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't even think it's a lack of games. It's a lack of the quality of
and the effort.
Half of the games. Half the games are freaking amazing. They really are. Mm-hmm. The thing, people keep saying there's no software for it, which is bullshit. The game just came out in the States in 1 year ago. It was last February.
Yeah.
Less than a year ago, because it was late February. It was like February 25th or something.
Yeah, the PSP came out after I had left GameStop.
The Vita.
Yeah, I'd still call it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it was a little less, almost a year ago, exactly. There's about 50 or 60 games, hard games, actual, you can put the chip in the back of the Vita. That has nothing to do with the other 50 or 60 games that are downloadable. The 10 to 15 that are crossplay, not to mention you literally have access to every PSP game ever made digitally. There's literally 2,000-3,000 games for this thing. The library's there.
On a mathematical standpoint, because I know a lot of people still haven't transitioned over to digital and everything, if it's got 50 or 60 titles, that's literally a game release a week for the console, for the handheld.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing launched with 25 or so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still think the onslaught is a few months away because I think, like I've been saying for weeks now, they can't announce half this shit until the PS4 gets announced because a lot of this stuff is going to start being cross-buy, cross-play with the PS4.
We're going to put that on the shelf.
We're going to put that right now.
Yeah.
A little bit over.
Moving on.
Okay, let's This I don't know too much about. I just kind of read the headline and kind of went meh, but I know a lot of people probably care about it out there, so I want to acknowledge it. Call of Duty apparently is hosting a $1 million Blops 2 tournament, which we personally don't give too much of a shit about this kind of stuff, but I guess that is cool. At least Activision's taking some of their truckloads of money that they make off this game and trying to give a little bit back to the community. That's kind of nice. It'd be nicer if they did a double down where the winner can get $1 million and then there's a second $1 million that gets donated to the charity of the winner's whatever
choice. Yeah.
So then they're a millionaire, but they also get to give a little away. Yeah. Because if anyone could afford it, it's Call of Duty.
I guess the negative side is Madden did shit like that, and it's just like stick your tournaments in your ass.
The thing is, these things make more money than they put out.
Yeah.
This is going to draw in through media and through the Professional Gamer League or whatever
MLG or whatever the fuck they're called.
And the streaming online of the tournament and the advertisements. They're probably going to bring in more than the $1 million that the prize is.
That's my point. You don't need any more money, Activision.
Moving on a little bit more. There's recent rumors are suggesting that the possibility of Halo 3 coming to Steam.
Yes.
I don't really care. The game's really old, and who the fuck hasn't played Halo 3 yet? I also don't think it's that far-fetched because we're all pretty much on the same page here that the new Xbox will be out by the end of this year.
No.
Which means Halo 3 it's already 4 Halos ago. And beyond that, in a few more months, it'll be last generation as well.
I think
go ahead, put it on Steam, because Xbox is probably going to shut down the servers for Halo 3 soon anyway over Xbox.
Well, I think part of it is this is just another aspect of Microsoft kind of letting up on the reins a little bit. I was absolutely shocked to find out that they're supporting iOS with smart glass and things like that, and it wasn't supposed to come right away, and then boom, there it was. You can get connectables on your iPhone, and how much of a
get you Fruit Ninja and shit on there too. Mm-hmm. Fruit Ninja. Well, they're making a lot of money off that.
And how much of an absolute failure games for Windows as a platform was. It would be stupid of them not to take advantage of this, and I'm surprised not seeing more people do things like this. Mm-hmm. I've said it a million times. You know how much money Nintendo would make? Put Mario on Steam or on iPhone or Android, sell it for $1. You know how many people would buy that shit?
No.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, good for you, Microsoft, if it is true, and good for you, Steam.
Yeah, fucking A.
Now, am I going to be able to play Halo 3 on my Steam box?
Probably.
That's the question.
Probably. Well, that's the cool thing. Steam won't let the servers die like that, because it'll be community run and it'll keep going.
And you'll probably see some pretty badass mods.
Yeah. Okay, we've got 3 stories left. These are the big boys. Superbot parts ways from Sony. They both responded. Superbot, if you don't know, are the gentlemen who made PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Yeah.
They were hit by tremendous layoffs last week. Fortunately, they're not being shut down. Sony's they're not even really breaking ties with them. They're just kind of like, well, the contract's over. We tried them out. We put the game out with them. It's obvious sales weren't where they were anticipating them to be, so Sony's not going to keep financing that studio if they don't, if they're not making enough money off them. The DLC is getting moved to Sony Santa Monica, which are the gentlemen behind the God of War series.
Yeah.
And that's it. They both came out and said everything. Sony said it was a good break, and they hope to look for they hope to work with them again in the future. Which probably when the PS4 comes out, you're probably looking at Sony Smash Brothers 2.
It's always how when WWE fires somebody, they always wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors.
Yeah. No, I really think they are going to work together again. Just they're not ready for it yet, and they probably want to see a little bit more of how this series takes off before they commit to Sony Smash Brothers 2.
Yeah.
Superbot said they're fine. They're not closing. They are going to go start working on a bunch of other projects. Mm-hmm. And they said it was great to work with Sony. So everybody, I don't know if it was a bad breakup or not, but at least they're hiding it well.
Yeah, it sounds like it was pretty.
Yeah, sounds like clean. They're kind of like, yeah, it was fine. I think it was understood that they were only going to be working together for the 7 or 8 or 9 months anyway, and they worked together, and that was that.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody was anticipating a new lifelong friendship or anything. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. And as long as the studio's not closing, it's fine.
Everybody already knows that I have a dog and he occasionally makes noise, but we've never stated that if you hear really weird noises, I have a ferret, and she tends to be up at night.
She plays in the cage.
She plays in the cage, yeah.
That's what's going on in the back.
In case it's being picked up, I don't know.
Plus, me and Jason are playing footsie.
Oh, yeah, always.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I threw you off track, but I wanted to address it.
Nintendo came out, and they made a big statement because they're getting some questions lately about the lack of software since launch. Because like I addressed last week, Nintendo did an excellent job. They had 28 games at launch, something. Since then, 2 games have come out in the last 6 months.
That's how it happens, though. Nothing gets released in the first 2 months of the year. And generally, when they do, those games tend to be forgotten towards the holiday season.
So he says, don't worry, the games will come, and he's also trying to ease the fact that a lot of people are worried because a lot of third parties are dropping out now that they got their hands on the Wii U hardware, and the sales aren't where they expected. It's the same problem with the Vita.
Yeah.
Until you get more Vitas or Wii U's out there, people are scared to develop because there's only 4 or 5 million in the wild. It's like, why develop for something you're already handicapping yourself?
Yeah, I think part of it is too. I mean, they came out with the Nintendo Direct a week ago. They addressed these problems already. Said we're still doing it. Here's when we're going to do it. Here's our timetable.
Well, I think he was talking more on behalf of third parties in this particular instance. But he said, "Don't worry, they're coming." He's trying to calm everybody down.
Yeah.
And the number one story of the week, Grand Theft Auto got delayed, even though it didn't have a release date, because they said spring. But now it does have an official release date of September 17th.
And I believe it is, I may be wrong, but it is now the only game that we know that's coming out for current consoles in the fall. Mm-hmm. Right?
A lot of rumors and speculations came out that it got pushed back because they want to do a dual platform release. No, that could be true. It might be a PS4 and PS3 launch and a Xbox 720 360 game, because the first year or two you're going to have to release them on both. Like this year's Call of Duty is going to come on both consoles. It has to, because you can't just forget about the 150 million people.
No, I know.
Last generation. You'll kill yourself in sales. There's no reason. But they're probably allowing it to run on a new system too.
Yeah, I guess.
Which I think is a really smart idea. I mean, why would you release something so close to the end with new hardware in sight? Mm-hmm. You know, everything's made on a computer anyway right now. It's not hard to just make it look better on the new system. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence with the new Grand Theft Auto. I've always liked the series, but I don't think I've ever beaten any of them, because I play them. I usually get about 20 hours into them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to grab a rocket launcher and fuck everything up. And then I don't ever go back to them.
I've never beaten a Rockstar game because the same thing happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's fun to run around a little bit, and then you just kind of like, nah, I saw it. The only one
I beat L.A. Noire.
Yeah, the only one that I got close to and still have to go back and I want to do a couple little things and finish it up is Red Dead. That one I loved, but that's different. That didn't feel like a Rockstar game. It wasn't so much dumb shit.
Yeah, I guess.
So, and that one I really enjoyed.
I know, I invested a lot of time, and I barely made it to Mexico.
What, in Red Dead?
Yeah. So I know I was like a quarter of the game into it. I'm like, okay, I'm done with
No,
this.
Mexico's about halfway, I think.
Either way, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I'm done with the Cowboys.
Yeah. That's the one game I liked a lot. So, yeah. Aside from that,
All right. So that's going to lead us into our social media. You're not going to do it?
I was actually waiting for you. Kimu!
Okay.
I was also going to... Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Magnus sent us a question. He goes, when you have a choice between making a male or female character, what do you choose and why?
Mm-hmm. This is interesting, because I always pick the male. Always, always, always. Because it's essentially your avatar. It's who you're trying to escape to be, who you're putting yourself into. I think that's why I like Uncharted so much, is I like pretending to be Nate Drake, because it's so badass and funny and, awesome with the women, and he always gets his way out of everything, and it's just cool to put yourself in his shoes for a few hours. But when you think about it logically, it should be the other way around, especially when you're playing big RPGs or MMOs or something lengthy, because you're essentially looking... I've never gotten turned on by a video game. I'm not trying to say it that way. But if you're staring at something as a straight male...
In a third-person perspective.
Yeah. If I'm staring at something for 50, 60, 70, 80 hours, wouldn't it be better to look at... Because most of the women are depicted, kind of like sluttily, I guess, and in video games. And once to me, it makes more sense to want to look at that for the 50, 60, 70 hours. Not a dude. But for some reason, I just gravitate toward the male characters in every game. You know what I mean? It's just how I've been since I was a little kid. I don't know.
For me, generally, I normally pick the males. And actually, to my buddy made a good comment. He goes, if I'm going to spend 20 hours playing a game, I'd rather look at a chick's ass than a dude's. On the flip side, and I know I'm going back and beating that dead horse again. In City of Heroes. I actually decided to make a female character after my male character that I had for so long. And the reason is because sometimes chicks actually get better costume pieces and better accessories than the dudes do. And I'm not talking about making big boobs or having a big ass or anything, but like just some of their costume pieces tend to fit a little bit better than the dudes.
I like how none of you could see this, but for me it was hilarious.
My hands up.
Yeah, because as he's describing boobs, he grabs his imaginary boobs in front of him, and then he started squeezing his imaginary ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been something that would have been awesome if we were recording.
Yeah, and like even in Borderlands, I tend to pick the males based on class, but actually I'm playing as the Mechromancer.
Yeah.
And her lines are so much better than the dudes. So, yeah, I think that kind of answers that.
I think it goes, for me, it stems, I think, since childhood, because even though women have made great strides in video game characters as of late, when you go back to when I started gaming, because I am old school, I started Atari and NES and stuff, there really was no women. You had occasionally Princess Peach, but they didn't even let you touch her till the second game. And she's really all you had.
You have Samus, but you don't know that she's a chick until the game ends.
And then you had an occasional Final Fantasy character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But as, you know, in my youth, the entire time when I got into this hobby, I had nothing but males. That's what
I think the big point was when Tomb Raider, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, when Tomb Raider came out.
Choices just started coming 2-3 generations ago. PS1, I think, like he's saying with Tomb Raider, but the actual choices, I think, were last gen.
Yeah, and I mean
PS2, Xbox, where it was like, do you want to be male or female?
And I mean, I always used to make chicks in the wrestling game, but I'd make a chick that wasn't in the game that was on the roster or something like that, you know, just to have a complete roster and things like that. But yeah, no, you really haven't had those choices until now.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Brendan Joyce asked, and this is one that Tony's not going to answer at all because Tony doesn't know what this word is. What is your favorite book based on a video game?
Yeah, I can get. I actually have one. I'm about halfway through it. I'm reading the officially licensed from Naughty Dog Uncharted book.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's excellent, and I know you're a big reader. I think you'd even dig this.
Well, that's actually how I kind of got in with Halo. I didn't care about Halo. Still kind of don't.
But the books were good.
But yeah, I ran out of books, and my girlfriend goes, "Well, I got the Halo series." I'm like, "Fuck it, I'll read it."
I think it's Christopher. No, that's not right. Christopher. No.
Phone.
Go ahead.
You keep talking for a minute.
No,
tell us about it a little bit.
Well, I don't want to ruin it. I mean, it basically the book starts off. I'm like a third to a halfway through the book. I don't know. I read it here and there. Honestly, when I'm sitting on the can, I try to knock out half a chapter. Without ruining too much, it's basically
Christopher Golden.
That's what I say, Christopher
Nolan.
Yeah, I'm getting.
Apparently, they're making a second book.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He's like an. I'm not trying to make it sound like childish, but it's an easy read. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not Cat in the Hat, but it's.
Yeah, no, I get you. You know, you're not reading fucking Lord of the Rings where you can't pronounce half the goddamn names in it. You know.
Yeah, anyway, it's fun.
Gollum.
Yeah. So, but basically, you know, a lot of it took place in the jungle. Princess gets kidnapped. Drake goes in to steal an artifact and finds her trapped and rescues her.
Okay.
But not intentionally. He is just
happenstance.
He's just like, well, you're here tied up. Let me rescue you on my way out. And her and the dude thought it was him trying to break in to rescue her because she's a princess. Even she's like, oh, he's here for me, not knowing that she was secondary to
He was just trying to get his dick wet on his way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool so far.
I've read quite a few video game novels. I've done the Halo series. I've done the Gears of War series. I've done Resident Evil, to my knowledge. There's probably a couple that I'm missing there. First ones were Resident Evil. Early 2000s, those came out. Little, 150, 200-page books. There's 0 through 6, I believe. And they're not based entirely on the video games, but they follow the same kind of universe and everything. Yeah. That's really what got me first. Like I said, I read the Halo ones. Those were interesting just to kind of give me a new perspective on the games and a new appreciation. But my favorite is probably the Gears of War books. And that's because you find out so much more detail in between the stories that you get with the 3 games.
Wasn't there a book or two just on eBay?
Mm-hmm. Well, you find out there's a whole book called, which is the newest one, called The Slab. And that's Marcus when he goes to jail. You find out what happens and everything. The chick, and I can't remember her name, Karen something or other, actually wrote the script for Halo 3 also. So she was able to bring in these characters that she made in the book and bring them into the series.
Sammy. Sorry about the dog.
Yes. We'll take a quick 30-second break, and I'll hand to that, and we'll be right back.
And we're back. How do you like that? That is the magic of editing.
Yeah. Yeah, until the dog starts barking again.
So, where do we...
I was talking about the Gears of War novels.
Yes.
They're really good.
Stuff.
And stuff. No, like I said, they really tie in the universe and the story. They really bring it all together. They give you some insight on some characters that you see for a few moments in the games, but they really expand upon them in the universe. That's the reason I play as the sniper chick, Bernie, all the time, because she's a fucking badass in the books. Mm-hmm. And you see her for one part of the game when you're storming... when the locusts are storming shit. See, this is what happens when I don't play Gears of War for like 6 months. I forget the names of everything.
The guys with the ugly faces and stuff.
Great things.
Weird weapons.
But yeah, and I'm not even going to attempt to include comic book crossovers into this. I'm going to stick to books here, as in your traditional novels.
Yes.
We'll do comic books related games another day. Gage,
good question. Good question.
Thank you. Gage Dale. I believe it's Metro. Yeah. Okay. Hey, when he puts it on the Facebook, I'm gonna call him by his Facebook's name. Okay. Yes. So, do you have any quirky video game related stories from your youth?
Shit, I don't know. No? I should have prepared for this one.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
Before we recorded, I was like, Tony, did you see the question? Yeah. So you need to review.
I didn't see this one. I didn't see this one, Dick.
I'm really trying to think. Here's okay. I swear to God, nobody can make fun of me about it. Okay, I was like,
everybody make fun of him.
No, dude, I was like 6, maybe. Okay, and it was at the bowling alley that we used to work at, and was playing Street Fighter 2, and nobody else was in there, and I was stuck on fucking Vega, and I'm just dropping quarters trying to whoop Vega's ass. And I had to pee so bad that I kind of peed a little bit on myself.
Nice.
Once I beat him.
I like it.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And then like I had a wet spot on my pants for like the remaining 4 hours that we were there that I tried to cover up. I believe I actually even spilt a soda on my pants to cover it up.
Oh, yeah. I just dropped pop on myself.
I was like a little kid. I was like, oh my God, I peed on myself.
Yeah. I don't have anything like that.
It's like I never pissed myself. I mean, except when I'm drunk.
Yeah. I never pissed myself when I was a child. Just when I started drinking. I really can't think of anything. But because I don't want to stall the show, if anything pops up, I'll address this when it comes in my head. I will continue to think about it.
Okay. Lysios doesn't have a question, but he made a comment regarding some couple things that we were talking about last week pertaining to the tournament. I want to bring him up since we got him here now. Alucard is not the reincarnation of Dracula. He's actually Dracula's son. He also went over a bunch of Dracula's different powers and abilities. Said Dracula would absolutely whoop the shit out of Sweet Tooth.
Isn't that what we had?
Dracula won. He did in fact win. But thanks for commenting on the tournament. We always appreciate it.
Fucking A, man.
And
good to know we made the right choice.
Exactly.
By him.
And if we get a fact wrong, please feel free to correct us.
It's hard. It's hard to know every little thing about every little character.
We will definitely in any aspect of anything that we do on the show. We will definitely give you a shout out and correct it.
Yep.
Brings us to our last question of the week. It's from our faithful listener, Andrew Dillon.
What's up, Andrew?
He asked, are any of us planning on buying the new Fire Emblem game for the 3DS? That's part 1.
I will take that first. No, I didn't even know what the hell this was until last week when there was that Fire Emblem Cross. What's the other one?
Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That it's not really my bag, but Who knows? I don't think so. I really don't think so.
For you, Tony, since you've never had the opportunity to experience a Fire Emblem game, I'd say go back and try one of the older ones to give them a shot if you are interested first.
What's old, like PS1?
Like GBA, DS.
Oh, they're handheld games?
Yeah, they're generally handheld games. So give one of those a shot first. Give it a try. See if it's your bag or not.
I don't know if my Game Boy Advance works anymore.
I'm sure I've got one around here somewhere. You know, and if not, I'm pretty sure that we can call Moss.
I think they're like $12 on Amazon.
Yeah. I unfortunately don't have a 3DS, which I've stated in the past. It would probably be on my radar if I had one. It would be one of those titles that I'd be interested in picking up. Not a huge follower of Fire Emblem. I played... Oh, shit. I don't remember the name of it. It was for GBA. I got it for free from GameStop. But yeah, they're cool games. They're definitely worth checking out. I do like playing as Marth and Roy in Smash Brothers. They're pretty badass. So yeah, that's about it. Mario background,
yeah. My new background, I love
it. His second question said, "I just joined Steam. Congratulations!
Okay, hey, welcome to the club."
He did give us his Steam ID. I know I have Steam. I barely ever use it.
Send him I'll add him. Yeah, I'll write it down. I'll write it down and send your request, bro.
And he asked if we can suggest any Steam games to him.
I can. The thing about Steam is the cheapness. Okay, if you're not super into RTSs or MMOs, or maybe I'm forgetting another genre or two, you're not really going to like PC gaming for the exclusives. PC gaming gets more exclusives than everybody because it's the cheapest to develop for. So you're going to get a lot more indie titles available to you, as well as big $30, $40, $50, $60 games that come strictly to PC just because it's more open and you don't have to go through the loopholes of putting it on PlayStation or Xbox. You just kind of upload it as long as Steam approves.
Yeah.
It also doesn't cost as much, and it's free to update because this is a little-known fact. Xbox and PlayStation charge the developer, or not the developers, the developers.
Yeah.
The developers, not the publishers. Every time there's an update on your Xbox or PS3, they had to pay to put that through your service. Steam lets you do it for free. So it's a lot more open to smaller developers. So there's a lot of games. The real benefits of Steam come twice a year. There's the big holiday sales. There's one in the summer and there's one in the winter, right around Christmas. These things are week-long ventures where $50, $60 games, stuff like Sleeping Dogs that's like 6 months old, you can pick it up for like $5 on your PC. These are the times to go a little nuts if you don't like the exclusives. Aside from that, I would also wait for the indie bundles, which aren't provided through Steam, the actual true namesake indie bundle. But what happens as soon as you buy it through them, you can link it to your Amazon account so you don't have to trust some weird person with your credit card. And Amazon gives you the option of if you want the download code from them or if you want to link it to Steam, you click link to Steam and then you just download them all from Steam for free.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, stuff will eventually come to consoles, but a lot of the cool shit, like I liked Machinarium and stuff like that. I loved it on PC. Then, now it's been on PS3 recently, and I'm replaying it, but yeah.
I've got a couple of actual titles for them. I know I'm not a huge Steam player, but if you're just venturing in and you don't have a whole lot of experience with it, definitely, and I know they're super cheap, pick up the Half-Life games, okay? Counter-Strike. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, and the reason is because you can get some crazy, really cool mods for those. That's one of the other advantages with playing games like that, is it really extends the life of the game by playing it on PC. For instance, Left 4 Dead 2 has an amazing mod called the Macho Man mod, okay? And literally every enemy in the game has a different saying of Macho Man's as their soundbite. So when the horde comes at you, it's literally like 50 zombies going, "Ooh yeah!" But I'd pick up, all the quote-unquote first-party Steam games.
There's Team Fortress 2 is actually free-to-play. Monday Night Combat is free-to-play.
Yeah. Binding of Isaac is one of those indie games.
That one's awesome. That's $2-3 on sale. The thing that I want to almost steer you away from is just don't buy anything full price, because in 2 weeks it's going to be on sale.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's scary about spending any money on Steam, is next week it's probably 50% off. Yeah, there's quite a few good games. I mean, Monday Night Combat I think is free to play. There's Eve, which is the Dust 514's PC
Eve Online, yeah.
It's their PC counterpart. I know Mark's a big fan of Gary's Mod. I haven't played that personally. That's a little bit more like Saints Row 3-ish. So if you want
Gary's Mod can get a little weird.
Yeah, so if you want a little off-the-wall comedy, it's definitely M-rated, go that direction. There's a lot of fun games. Like I said, I could send you a request. You could look at my catalog. I own like 40 or 50 games. You could get a good idea of what I play. You could throw shit on your wish list, and Steam will actually email you when the games on your wish list go on sale. So that's kind of cool too. You can email letting you know the game you are looking into is 50% off or whatever.
And also, don't feel bad about buying a game for Tony. He won't mind. I hate to say it. Obviously, we're down a guy here, and the guy who's normally here is our PC and Steam guy. So I actually, whether he addresses it in the comments or we bring it up again next week or whatever the case may be, I definitely want to shoot this past Mark, because we're probably missing a couple of gems there.
Yeah, I'm probably forgetting some stuff. I'm actually on my Steam app right now. I mean, there's a lot of those, I can't even think what they're called right now, where I think those are the RTSs, where you're kind of like controlling entire armies by point. Yeah.
Company of Heroes, things like that.
That's the main draw of PC gaming, because that's something consoles, with the exception of things like Halo Wars, and what was the other one? Command and Conquer?
Command and Conquer.
With the exception of 2 or 3 in the history of console gaming, that's the one thing that they weren't able to handle, that PCs are always. Oh, another big game, Sims 5 is coming out. Civilization is another huge one I know on PC.
My suggestion would be, since I know you have an Xbox, Andrew, is go through a couple of the indie games and a couple of the arcade games that you're interested in, and then check them out on Steam and do a price comparison on them. If they're cheaper.
It'll always be cheaper on Steam.
Most of the time, 90% of the time. But like Explosion Man, things like that, games that you may have had an interest in, check them out on Steam, because not only do you get the game, but then you do get access to, like I said before, the modding community and stuff like that, and that'll really extend the life of the game.
Yep. Not to mention, we don't know how the transition is going to be between Xbox 360 and 720. So, I mean, you might be buying stuff on 360 that they may lock out on the 720.
I will break my Xbox.
I don't think they can do that, because
be like that fat guy on the internet.
Damn it, calling me fat.
I think everybody would get too upset. But in the event they do, with Steam, you're locked in for life.
Yeah.
Whatever you buy, I think it's gonna be like that on the new systems.
I had a Steam account back in like 2002, and that's when I got Half-Life and all those. And they're still there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you have them forever.
The discs and the codes are long gone.
Killing Floor is fucking awesome. That's a PC-only game. I'll play that shit with you. I love that game. Mark will play with us. We get Angry Andy on that one. That's a fun one, too. Okay. Was that Gmoo?
That is our social media for the week. As always, thanks for sending in your questions. And that we're obviously skipping the tournament this week because Mark's not here. Bastard, because he's dead.
And that'll bring up, of course, the boo-doo-boo-doo, Tony's topic of the week.
I could close that.
So this week, I'm very linked into PlayStation world. That's my corner of forward compatible team. And this week, almost within minutes of each other, Facebook exploded, Twitter exploded, my email exploded.
Tony's genitals.
My genitals exploded, everything exploded. Almost like, and Sony just started blasting this teaser. It was 45 seconds long. I don't know if any of you saw it, but if not, I mean, it's also on PlayStation's YouTube channel, the official PlayStation channel from YouTube.
IGN, Kotaku.
Yeah, they all have everything. It up there because this was a big deal this week. I want to get into speculation of what it is later. I don't want to say what I think it is quite yet. But basically, it's 45 seconds. It opens up. It's kind of a darker commercial, and there's a lot of like flashing, like lightning-esque type things.
Electricity.
You see a plastic box of sorts, and then the PlayStation buttons fly across the screen. You'll have, the triangle button kind of going across the screen. Then you'll see the X go the other way, followed by the square and then the circle. Then it cuts to a black screen, and it says join us, something along the lines of join us February 20th for the future of PlayStation. Mm-hmm. And the commercial ends, and that's all it is.
Since we're talking solely on the video, and I just watched the video, did you notice that when the X goes by, the color of the light, because the lightning's different colors for each one, the X is I believe it was green. I think it's a little slap in the face to Microsoft to make an X green.
Was it?
I think so.
I did not catch that.
I think so.
But I know I don't know if the colors change, but I know in Japan, I think it's the circle and the X are switched on Japanese controllers.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because I know there's a color that corresponds to them. I think it's blue is X and circles like orange.
Yeah.
Shit, I can't think right now because I don't look that closely into them. But anyway, so I don't know if the colors switch. Maybe it is green for the X.
I think that's, what I saw. If it is, I'm not digging into it. I'm just saying they might have.
It could be.
They might have done that just to, a little like slap in the face to Microsoft and Green X.
Whatever it is, I just want to make the announcement that Sony came out a day after this got released, and because they invited the entire media out to New York. They're holding this press conference in New York on February 20th. And they're going to, I just want to let everybody know, they came out a day later and they said they're going to live stream this. I don't have the exact info yet, and I will get back to everybody next week. I'm assuming it's going to be on your PlayStation, on your PS3, and your Vita, because there's that app that streams everything. It'll probably be on PlayStation.com.
They'll probably do YouTube.
It'll be on YouTube somewhere, and who knows if it'll be on TV. I doubt it, because it's cheaper to just put a shit on the internet and access everybody.
A lot of them are moving away from TV.
Because then you got to pay so much to get the spot.
For licensing and fucking marketing and advertisement and all that other bullshit.
But I'm sure in the next week or two, all of that information will be coming up. So we will, I will for sure let you guys know all the media outlets on which this will be. The exact time, I don't think it's available yet either. They just said February 20th.
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and make a speculation on the time. 10 a.m. Eastern.
It's probably not a bad, No, because wouldn't that be too early for...
It would be really early for West Coast, yeah.
Probably like noon to make it 8 or 9 in the morning on the West Coast.
Maybe. Damn.
Something like that.
Anyways.
We can get, yeah. Okay, so it is going to be live streamed. Okay, first thing. What do we think it is?
I think it's...
The PlayStation 3 Super De-Duper Slim, right?
No. I think it's the new Vita.
I think we're both...
It's the phone.
Yeah.
It's Xperia.
I'll joke...
Experience the Xperia.
All joking aside, I think we both... think it's the PS4, right?
Even if you look at the trailer, and I know I talked to you a little bit about before we went on air, that I believe it's just kind of the way that the X or the triangle, they kind of intersect or something. It almost looks like, and again, I could be wrong, I've watched it once, it looks like it makes a 4.
Yeah. I watched it twice. The first time I really didn't get it, and everything was happening very fast. And I didn't know what they were getting at. I didn't know if they were going to announce a new game.
Tony was busy pulling down his pants,
or
is what he's trying to tell you.
Teaser or whatever. And then I started seeing the PlayStation buttons. Then I started reading the comments, and everybody was freaking out because they thought it was the PS4 teaser. Then I watched it again, and the second time around is where I caught the piece of hardware in the beginning of the video. And that's what I was telling you about that plastic box. It's there for like a half a second. It flies across the screen.
I'm going to play it, and I'm going to turn down the volume on it.
Well, you're going to miss it if you miss the first few seconds. Yeah.
I'm going to start it over as soon as I get the volume
turned down. Because quite literally...
Why won't it turn down?
Because it hates you.
It does hate me. There it goes.
Okay. So there's this part, I don't know when it is. It's like in the first 20 seconds or so. And if you're not careful, you will miss it where...
Right there.
The piece of heart... No, yeah. And then it like... No, because...
Okay.
Fuck. I don't know where the hell it went now. There's literally, you can see hardware going across the screen.
Yeah. You
now,
see the X is green.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
So, it seems to me with, like, of course, we don't have confirmation.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is you had some of the bigger publications like IGN and Joystick and Kotaku reaching out to Sony. And you know how usually Sony and Microsoft have that preordained speech, we don't comment on speculation or rumors, blah, 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 but the future, we're always working to blah, blah, blah. And they have that response that always comes out when people ask about shit like this. This was the first time when they asked Sony that Sony didn't use that line, which I think is interesting.
See the 4 in the boxes right there?
Yeah, it could be.
See how that, I mean, all the other boxes are solid, and that one's kind of...
It could be.
Again, it's complete speculation.
Yeah, this is the first time that all they said was, they came out and they said, just join us on February the 20th. We're going to be discussing the future of PlayStation.
And, going through the trailer... and kind of doing it as freeze frame, with exception of the circle, everything is very angular.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like right there, you can draw a 4 inside of that. It's probably just marketing.
They do stuff shit like that to get people like us doing this.
Green right there.
Yeah.
Now look, if you look in there, there's another little box in there that makes like a little 4 in there.
Yeah. Okay, so
sorry.
No, it's quite all right. So we're both in agreement it's probably the PlayStation 4, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, honestly, not all jokes aside and stuff, is there something else it could be? Here's the thing. Let me see if this
I'm flabbergasted.
Let me see if this gets your mind jogged at all, okay? They just released a new PS3 redesign.
Yeah.
So I don't think
that's
all
possible. New colors.
Yeah.
Too.
So that I don't think they're going to release. I was joking around. I don't think this is another PS3 super de-duper slim. This is already the 3rd redesign for PS3. I don't think it merited a 4th redesign. I think it's too early for the PlayStation Vita to have a 2nd version. And I don't think Sony would waste all this time and effort. I don't think the Vita is big enough for them to call something like this for merely a redesign. Yeah. When the Vita first got announced, sure, you call something big like this. But for a redesign, nobody ever calls these huge press conferences for a redesign. And I also don't think it's a new game or title, whether it be a sequel or a new IP. Because again, you don't call press conferences to announce a game.
No, I mean, they've done stuff like this in the past for the games, but they're usually those little cool commercials, live action things. That's been their MO for things like that.
Yeah. And it can't be anything else under Sony's arsenal because A, it's showing the buttons of the PlayStation controller. Because Sony's a huge company. This could have been, like a new TV or a new...
only other thing that I'm honestly thinking that it would be stupid, is if it was some type of tablet.
Oh, like a Sony tablet?
Yeah.
See, okay, that's a decent
PlayStation tablet.
That's a decent theory. But like I was saying, I don't think it can be anything outside of PlayStation because A, it says join us for the future of PlayStation, and not the future of Sony.
Right there. There's the
PlayStation emblem. That's what I'm saying. So it has to be something.
Do they still use that logo?
Yeah, that's the official. Well, no, there's also they do this. No, fuck.
Yeah, I know the other, but I'm saying I haven't.
No, it's like squared off. It's like this.
Yeah, I haven't seen that used in quite a while.
That's the official PlayStation emblem.
Yeah, but I'm saying I haven't seen that since the PS1 days being used as their, because then the PS2 did the fucking letterbox like the PS3 does. Mm-hmm. So they're bringing back the old logo too.
Which might cue into what I said. Didn't I say they were going to drop the 4?
Yeah.
And they were just going to call it PlayStation and rebrand. Mm-hmm. I think that's a terrible idea, by the way, if they do that, because I think that's a lot of the problem the Wii U is having, is people don't understand, because the Wii is too closely named to the Wii and the Wii U, and casual people do not get that it's a difference. They might just think it's an add-on to the Wii, just like the balance board and stuff is. But people, even regular, normal, non-video game people, get that there's a difference between the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. You're numerically going up. It's the same reason I don't think it's a good idea for Xbox to just label theirs Xbox in the event that they wanted to rebrand. Because Xbox put themselves in a hole by naming it the 360.
Yeah.
Because they can't even call this the Xbox 3.
Yeah.
Which it technically is, because the way Google and shit work is they're going to automatically link that to the 360. Because that, as soon as you type in that 3, Google's going to hit 360, not the third iteration of the Xbox, and the Xbox only named it the 360 because they didn't want to call themselves Xbox 2, while PlayStation was coming out with the PlayStation 3 because it would make them sound like they're a whole generation behind, which they weren't.
Yeah.
But just in the average Joe's consumer's mind. Mm-hmm. I think if you drop the numericals, it's just not a good idea.
Yeah, but it's also the way that Apple does business, and now Nintendo's trying to do business and everything. So I mean,
Apple does it smart. It's the iPhone 3. Now it's the iPhone 4. Now it's the iPhone 5. People get that. It's the new iPhone.
But the iPad has dropped that. The iPad 3 isn't the 3. It's the new iPad.
Okay.
But
Apple gets away with it. Their fans are very savvy to their tech.
Yeah.
Video games, we're the minority, the people like us that do know about all this shit and get it.
Yeah.
A majority of people, they're just, they'll grab the new system, they'll pick up a few games, the bro gamers, they're not on IGN and Kotaku all day, hitting refresh, checking what's going on in the world. They just don't care. When the new system comes out, they'll pick it up a few months after launch, pick up Madden and Call of Duty and call it a day. They don't care.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's not a clear
I disagree that there needs to be a number. As long as their marketing is
Sony's atrocious at marketing.
That's the point, though. And I'm talking in general for the industry going forward. If they're savvy enough to make sure that the packaging and everything and their advertisements look different, that's where like you're saying, Nintendo dropped the ball. White box, little blue logo. It looks like the Wii did. Okay, yeah. But now if they come out and
even the hardware looks the same, except one stood up and one lays down.
And
the actual fucking box.
Yeah, if they change it enough. Now, I mean, I'm not saying make the system fucking hot pink or something, but if your marketing and your boxes look different and everything like that, and you go for a new package design, people will know that you have a different product.
Yeah. All right. So the only other possibility, because I didn't think it could be anything else, but you brought up an excellent point. It could be some sort of phone, tablet, device, some portable.
I mean, it's a left field.
Or other.
It's a left field, but I mean, I know they have the PSP and everything. But
well,
with the way
they do have a PlayStation Mobile brand, which is another subsidiary of PlayStation, which has its own selection of games on the PlayStation Mobile brand.
With kind of the explosion of tablet gaming, that's the only other possibility that I can think, and I haven't heard anything.
Remember how Sony bought Gaikai 6 months back?
Yeah,
the online streaming service only. Mm-hmm. That could be them tying it into tablets.
Yeah, I mean it. Not to take any wind out of your sails, but I mean it
could be.
I'm going to give it a 5% possibility.
95%. I think that's actually a good thing because now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about Gaikai because we still don't know what they're doing with that. And Gaikai, I don't know if you guys remember, they're the second biggest online streaming service right under on Live.
Yeah,
and they picked them up, and that thing is basically a browser-based game.
Yeah,
so this could be some kind of thing with that. Who knows, So, how long do you think this conference is going to go?
Hour.
Do you think it's a big... Yeah, that's... Hour. It could be those big hour-long blowout things. I think it's going to be significantly shorter.
Do you?
I think you're going 20 to 30 minutes tops. I think they come out, they waste 5 minutes doing a little song and dance, and hi, everybody, welcome to the future, blah, blah, blah. I still think it's the PS4. I think you show it, you take it away, you flash a few screens of the processing power, and you get off stage.
I don't know. I could see them. And again, I hate to go back to it, but I mean, they are the number one in marketing their own shit and doing their own little press conferences is Apple. And they come out and they show you the new features and they show you everything and they give you a reason to get excited about the new product. The day and age, and it kind of ties into what you were saying, where they just come out and flash it on screen for 30 seconds and say, it's here, but it's not really here, and not tell us anything about it. Yes, it generates hype and curiosity, but if you lay the cards out and tell everybody, this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to do, because it's already finalized, it's done. They can't go back and change anything at this stage.
You might hit minor tweaks, but
it's mostly like
people
firmware.
People have had dev kits for years.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
it's mostly like firmware. Come out, reveal everything, tell everybody this is what it is, this is what it does, this is the processor, this is what this is going to look like, this is what that's going to look like, and you're going to get people excited because they know everything. Cat's out of the bag. Put it out there. Stop fucking playing with us.
See, I think that's what E3's for. I think you come out, you tease it, you obviously announce its existence. And what that opens up is between February and June, when E3 comes around, the developers have another 2 or 3 months to start announcing their games before E3. They don't have to pretend the PS4 doesn't exist anymore.
I don't see...
So they can build hype going into E3, and then E3, Sony spends half the show talking about everything you're saying. They show off the hardware, the specs, and then the other half showing off big-name games, Gran Turismo 6, Uncharted 4, Killzone 4, blah, 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 blah.
I see February 20th being completely 100% the system and the hardware. Whatever, and it might be one of your topics because I know it was a rumor mill. We'll get into it. The controller, you show that. They're not going to show any of the games. Mm-hmm. The games are going to be for the E3. Yeah.
Well, the controller can still go either way because you remember when they showed off the PS3 and they had that boomerang, and they got such harsh backlash that they went back a few months before. Did PS3 get delayed?
Well, PS3 was announced an entire year and a half before it actually hit the market.
So I mean, they had time to go back and correct the backlash they got because I know a lot of people don't like the DualShock, but a lot of people love the DualShock. You know what I mean? And if you stray too far from the Sony faithful, you're going to get upset. And they learned their lesson with the boomerang.
I loved the DualShock for PlayStation 2. Don't like the one on PlayStation 3. It's too light, too kind of plasticky feeling. I miss that weight that it had.
I like it. I just wish they would switch L2 and R2 a little.
The triggers?
I wish they would curl out like the Xbox ones does.
Yes.
And everything else I think's fine.
I don't like it because it the way that when you push it, it hooks underneath, and I just don't. I couldn't get into it.
And what I think both companies should do, Xbox and PlayStation. I know there's a third-party company that does this, and it's like the D-pad and your left thumbstick are one piece, and they literally pull out of the controller and flip around, if that makes sense. Where you have your choice. If you want your D-pad up left and the stick down right, like on the PS3, or if you want them swappable and you have it thumbstick top left and D-pad bottom right.
I think it was a Mad Catz controller that I
had
exactly called the Phoenix that used to do that for PlayStation 2. But literally, I could put the the buttons on the left-hand side and the D-pad on the right. We would do that for racing games to throw ourselves off.
Yeah.
So, like a southpaw, essentially.
So I think both companies should utilize that because I know what steers a lot of people away from PlayStation is the Xbox, or because it's not laid out like the Xbox controller. And that pisses a lot of people off, especially for shooters and stuff.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense to me. That they both feel comfortable to me. The only reason Xbox laid it out like that is not because it's more ergonomical or whatever. It was to do something that Sony didn't. It's like, well, Sony's got them here. Let's put it like this so nobody says we're copying Sony.
Yeah.
And people just fell in love with it. I think it was an accident the way it landed like that. But I think you give people the option on both because I'm so used to it, it doesn't bug me. But even I think if Sony gave me the option, I'd probably put the left thumbstick up where Xbox is.
Yeah.
Just because I'm more used to it. So, and I hope to God Xbox fixes their D-pad. Oh my God.
Are we on the controller now?
I didn't have the controller as a thing.
One of the rumors going around a little bit before this announcement was we touched base on it, was a redesigned controller. From what I've heard, and our buddies over at Gen Game and Zelda Dungeon pointed out, one of the big things they're talking about is a touch pad. Okay, a touch pad is not a touch screen.
That's the one thing I wanted, yeah. Because I know you... Have you held the Vita yet?
Only in the display.
Okay, the Vita has a touchpad on the back. It's just... It feels like this, like the screen of a smartphone, but there's no screen. Okay, and it does pick up your movement and all that really nicely. That could be what it is. And people are freaking out like, oh, they're copying the Wii U. No, they're fucking not. They didn't make a big tablet with a big screen in the middle of their controller.
Yeah.
They're talking about making a little 2-inch by 2-inch...
Dude, Guitar Hero did it for the Guitar Hero 4 guitars. The World Tours had instead of the buttons for the lower part of the neck, it was a little touchpad.
Dude, even Nintendo, they didn't create the screen in a controller. Sega did that 15 years ago.
Yeah.
With the Dreamcast, they put the screen in the controller, not Nintendo.
And look how well that did them.
Well, I'm just saying, everybody's like,
Either way,
there goes Sony copying Nintendo again.
Even,
no, they're fucking not.
Even if they do, so what? As long
everybody copies everyone.
Exactly. Their innovation is dead here, people. And if you're the first one out of the gate, you're usually the loser
because you get copied and passed up.
And they usually do it better. So, and not to take anything away from Nintendo,
they brought motion gaming to things.
Yeah.
Sony and Microsoft both copied them.
But if they take a couple of the features from the Vita, like we said, the touchpad in the back, and they apply that to it, what's the harm?
Yeah,
what's the harm?
Nintendo was the last one to come around to be on discs. They held on to cartridges longer and longer. That's why the 64 suffered.
You hold your tongue.
What?
No,
come on, that's And then, but fucking, they brought Rumble, so Nintendo brought that to that. Like everybody contributes. It's not like Nintendo just magically invents everything.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying that they were specifically bashing that, but I'm just that even.
I'm talking in general.
Even Zelda Dungeon called out that a touchpad is not a touchscreen. If they're talking about a touchpad on the back of the controller, Sony
the Vita had that. The Vita came out before the Wii U.
And Sony had a patent on it a while ago for touch sensitivity with the controller itself.
Sometimes it's a little hard to reason with the crazy fanboys.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of what camp they're in, when they get in that weird rage-filled thing, there's just no reasoning with them.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's like...
What else we got? What other...
Okay. This looked like a two-parter. Do we think they're going to show any games? And which are the games that you would showcase with this?
Okay. As I stated, I don't feel on February 20th they will show any games. Maybe a couple of still images to show how the system would look. Maybe a couple tech demos. But I personally don't feel that they're going to show any games. Okay. Nothing in motion, nothing playable demo. That'll be their big E3 press conference, will be the software. This is going to be for the hardware.
Okay, so say there is some stills to show how beautiful stuff could look, because that was kind of part one as well. What are your game choices?
I think they're going to have to show, as much as it kills me to say, they're going to have to show a still of Call of Duty, because they're going to have... Well, here's why. They've got Activision and Sony have a little bit of a fight ahead of them. They have to convince the 70 million people to convert over.
Yeah.
Okay. So they got to come out of the gate strong and go, hey, look how different it looks. Look how more realistic it is. That's why I say they got to show something like that.
Okay.
But that's one. You got to show something like a Killzone. Like you said, maybe even a still image of a car for Gran Turismo photorealism. You got to show something kid friendly like Jack or Ratchet, something like that. You got to show what the full spectrum for the system. You got to show a little bit of everything.
I agree. I don't know if they're going to show snippets or stills. Stills, I didn't even think of that. That's actually a good point. I do think they're going to show something, but it's not going to be the main focus. I think Xbox already talked to Activision, and they're going to be the ones that push their $75 million into Call of Duty.
That's a possibility.
What I think Sony's going to do, because they kind of been partnering up with EA, is they're going to showcase Battlefield 4.
They're in my regard, in my world, they're interchangeable.
Yeah. For me. Well, but they worked out that bullshit DLC crap.
Yeah,
because Xbox and Activision started it, and to get back at them, EA and Sony were like, "Well, we'll partner up."
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the horses they're running with now.
It makes sense.
So I agree. You show your military shooter, but I personally I just think it's that, and that's a wide spectrum. I think you show a few first party titles, like you were saying. I think Gran Turismo 6 is key. It's the greatest selling Sony franchise they have.
Yeah.
And when you see Gran Turismo 6, Gran Turismo moves hardware. People don't want to admit it.
I don't play Gran Turismo. I haven't played Gran Turismo in years. Never really been a car enthusiast. Yeah. You show me Gran Turismo on the system because I know what it takes to make that game, and you've got my interest.
Yeah. I think that's why they've been so quiet lately. Gran Turismo 5 has been out for a long time, and there hasn't been very many map packs, but Sony lets Polyphony, those are the guys who make the Gran Turismos, they let them do whatever the fuck they want.
Those motherfuckers sleep under desks, man.
Even if those games come out every 5 or 6 years, those games sell gazillions of copies.
Their office is half of a car garage.
Yeah.
Because they can pull the cars right in to look at them. It's
freaking awesome.
They sleep under the desks.
Yeah. They're serious over there, and I wouldn't doubt they're working on a Vita PS4 type crossplay thing where you can maybe not play the full game on the Vita.
Mod your car on it. Check
Mod
your
the car,
stats.
screw around.
Or you know how sometimes you have the car clubs or your teams and everything. Check how they're doing.
You
Your ranking, your standing.
You can wash your car, switch rims, paint your car. You could do all that stuff on the Vita for free.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing you got to keep in mind is as powerful and as great as the Vita is and how it does keep up with the PS3, you can see that in crossplay. They're seamless, like PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. The game works the same on both systems, looks the same. It's great. When the PS4 comes out, it should blow the Vita away. So you're going to have to think outside the box on new ways to connect the game. Or stuff like that, like what we're saying, or like with Madden and NHL, 2014.
Make your playbook.
Stuff like that. Adjust your rosters, trade, do those, that's the kind of stuff that you're going to utilize on the Vita, on the go, where you could do all that crap, simulate games, stuff like that. And as soon as you get back to your PS4, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I think they're going to utilize in crossplay.
And that's one of the big aspects for mobile and tablet that I get into is with the cloud and everything. If I have games that are on my phone and on my tablet, I can do stuff in them, and then they pop up on the other one. So, I mean, that's got to be a big point going forward, and it makes sense with the company that you said that they bought, which is all streaming and cloud-based, because that's real-time updates.
Yeah. That's something I think they address at E3 is with Gaikai, because my personal thing, and a lot of people in the industry, because they gave me the idea, I'm not trying to say it was my idea. I read on it, and it makes a lot of sense. What I think Gaikai is going to do, unfortunately, the PS3, because when they built it, they were trying to be different, and they did those cell processors, okay? And as powerful as they are and as well as they work and all that, they're not going to be very compatible with the supposed innards of the PS4, okay? And it's going to be very hard to make the PS4 backwards compatible. And at the same time, why would they want to when they can resell you all of your PS1, 2, and 3 games classically through the digital store? And this also gives them the option to start making stuff like we have right now, our current gen. They could start making HD trilogies next generation. Like I can get an Uncharted trilogy HD upscaled to whatever the fuck the PS4 is able to do, and and they'll sell me those games again. And what it does is it's going to allow you to permanently, from this point forward, I think, have access to all your games. Some will carry over, but you'll have to rebuy some games digitally, and they'll be linked to your account forever. Because from then on forward, it'll always be emulated to whatever the graphical capabilities are on the future systems. And I think that's how they're going to tie everything in. And that's what I think Gaikai's for. I think they bought it for the servers and the technology, not the games that Gaikai physically had on it. Personally, I don't know.
Well, it makes sense.
Do you think they announced price and release? Is there a price and release date reveal? Or is this very cryptic?
Are you asking what I think or what I want?
Let's do both. Start with what you want.
What I want is I want price and date.
Right? Everybody.
I don't know if we'll necessarily get that because they are a Japanese company. They do like to hold some things back. I think it's a smarter move if you're trying to dominate the Western market, which they are trying to do, with everybody being, with current technology, phones, TVs, and everything. You put it all out there. You give it to them in one big shot. People can start planning for this, especially with the way that, and I hate to fall back on it, the way the economy is and everything. You don't want to catch anybody who's a potential buyer not ready for this.
Yeah.
Okay. So the more information that you're able to provide us up front, the more time we have to prepare. Also gives your retailers more time to get their marketing and get the hype going behind it, because that's who builds it up for you. Your hype machine is your marketing. So what I want is I want them to put everything out there, reveal it all. Save the software for E3, because we can wait for that, okay? You're going to generate enough buzz now by just unveiling the system and putting everything out there. If you hold back a little bit on the software side, people are still already going to be interested, especially if you come out and you give them everything up front. You kind of learn from Nintendo's mistakes a little bit and put it all out there and go, this is what it is, this is what we're doing with it. We'll show you the rest of the shit later.
I agree that that's what I want, and it's a very smart move. I agree with everything you said. That makes a whole lot of sense. Unfortunately, I agree. I don't think they're going to do it that way. I think they're going to hold off on both. The simple fact is you got to leave yourself a little wiggle room. The problem is it's only February. This will be February 20th. And say they're not releasing till November. That's 8-9 months of shit going wrong. You got to leave yourself a little wiggle room. You can't go, hey, it's coming out, October 31st or whatever. And then what if you have a manufacturing delay that puts you off a week or two?
This is true.
What if there's another, God forbid, there's another flood or whatever on hard drives, and all of a sudden there's a hard drive shortage and the pricing goes up? It's too forward. It's too far away.
I think the only thing, and
you got to leave yourself an
God damn it,
ounce.
I really don't want to sound like the Apple fanboy here, but I think they've got a majority of the components ready to go.
I think so too, but you just never know. You know what I mean? You got to leave yourself a little wiggle room. You gotta. It's just too far away to be like 1 million percent. Because then you get, as soon as you announce officially, you're being held accountable for it. That's it. If you go, hey, it's $399. Now everybody's expecting it to be $399. If you realize you had to charge $420, people are going to freak out about that extra $20 because you said $399.
The other part of it, it's kind of a catch-22. It does two things too. By coming out and unveiling everything, the date and the price, it puts pressure on Microsoft. All right, that's probably another little point here, but I don't mean to jump too far ahead. But if you come out and you say it's $300, it's coming out November 1st, that pressures Microsoft to match and exceed. Okay, so all right, well, our system's going to be $250, and it's coming out a week early. That's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing, great thing for us consumers. Maybe bad for the business a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know how exactly I feel about that.
I only had a couple things left. Basically, we've kind of. I didn't think we were going to hit this so much, but we kind of did throughout talking. I was going to say, are they going to leave much for E3? I know it sounds like you think they're kind of going to come out with like guns a-blazing.
I think they need to, with being and. Again, not being fanboyism, but with being as far behind as they have and the shit that they've had to endure the past year with the outages and all the other shit and the lack
Sony studio getting flooded, or the not studio, Sony factory getting flooded in Japan 2 years ago.
The underwhelming release of the Vita. And just how their business,
software sales from first parties,
their business in general has been going. They really need to put it all on the table and put it out there to convert the people who are already saying, I'm buying the next Xbox. I don't give a shit if it's if it's the same thing as a Wii U.
Yeah.
To interest, they need to get my interest. They need to give me a reason to spend my money. So they need to come out guns blazing.
Yeah. I think they leave basically price, specs, and release date. No, excuse me. Release date, price, and specs. Yeah, those are the three things that I think they focus on E3. I think they come out here and they're very party celebratory. Here it is, the unveil. Very cryptic. I think they, like I was saying earlier, I think they leave a little wiggle room. They show some screenshots, maybe some clips of some games that people love. I think maybe you tease a little Uncharted 4. Just the sign, just not even, you don't even show anything.
Just the still of the logo.
Yeah, to get people like, and then you maybe like Jason said, a cool picture of a car, and you have GT6 pop up after that. Just real quick, just flashy, like 10 seconds here, 10 seconds
they call them sizzles.
Yeah, and you get
a
people,
sizzle reel.
Yeah, and you get people like, fuck yeah, I can't wait. And I think you get off, and before people have time to praise you, and at E3, you spend your first half of the console, because now everybody knows it's coming. There's no more. It's just, what are they going to tell us about the system we already know exists? And E3, when you got the whole world watching, now you don't have the pressure of a system reveal. Now you go, okay, this is the release date, this is the price. We're taking pre-orders tomorrow. Here's the launch games, and they spend the second half of the show showcasing games and talk about Vita compatibility.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I just think if they hold off too much till E3. Microsoft is going to come out and hit them before.
And that will bring us to my final thing before we wrap the show up, is Microsoft's response. How do we think, how they're going to tie in, when do you think their Microsoft press conference? All these types of questions. Go ahead.
Typically, Microsoft does something a couple days or a day or two or the night before E3, where they show something or they do something like that. They tend to they go to E3, they show a lot of stuff, but if you look at their history, they always kind of stay right outside. They're in that general vicinity of the event itself as an overall, but they do something the night before or things like that. So I think one way or another, if Sony holds back too much until E3, Microsoft's going to pull away all that attention to it. They have an edge right now going into February 20th to really, really convince people and really come out with a bang. If they wait too long, Microsoft and the Microsoft machine, their marketing and everything, which they do right,
Microsoft is really good at marketing,
are going to destroy Sony with their marketing and the hype, because they can do that. Mm-hmm. So I think if Sony holds back too much, they give Microsoft too much time to prepare an even bigger presentation.
You also got to keep in mind, historically, at least in the case of the last 4 or 5 years since I've been paying attention to E3, because before that I would just kind of catch something. I'd be a little too young.
Yeah,
I didn't have internet access.
You didn't
completely.
have G4.
Yeah. So I wasn't able to focus as much on it. But the last 4 or 5 years, historically, Microsoft gets day 1, Sony gets day 2.
Mm-hmm.
So because E3 is the 3 days long, Nintendo gets the afternoon of the second day,
and
the third day is the big publishers like EA or Activision get to take their shot, Ubisoft, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The one thing I kind of disagree on is I don't think Microsoft's going to wait that long. I think Sony clearly took over February, but I don't think Microsoft can wait till June to respond.
Now they can't. I
think this forced Microsoft's hand where they see. Here's the problem: is Microsoft can't even do it too close. Like February 20th is PlayStation show. You can't even do it like February 21st. You got to give it 3 or 4 weeks so the stuff doesn't get.
I'm gonna make another prediction. I say Microsoft April.
So I think they're coming in March.
Here's why I say April. Okay, it's 2 months after Sony's announced,
and 1 month before E3.
Oh, well, 2 April, May, June.
Right in the middle.
So
gotcha.
Right in the middle, enough time for the Sony hype to kind of die down just a little bit.
And enough time.
Boom, and right as Microsoft's hype would start to die down, boom, E3, April.
See, I think it's a little earlier. I think March, for the simple fact of what I brought up earlier, is as soon as the cat's out of the bag, all this shit can finally start getting announced. Mm-hmm. Stuff that's clearly in the works. The next generation Call of Duty. Next generation Madden, next generation MLB The Show, all this crap. And the problem is Microsoft doesn't want to be too far behind Sony, because when all this stuff starts getting announced, Call of Duty next gen, Battlefield 4 on the PS4, on the commercials and stuff, Xbox is going to want their symbol up there too, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And I don't think you want to give them that 2 months to have people associate Battlefield 4 just with PS4. Even though, like us, people in the know obviously understand it's going to be coming to both systems. But, Borderlands 3, say that gets announced. You don't want them to say Borderlands 3 coming on the PlayStation 4, and they can't say and also this, because Microsoft didn't let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
No, so I think they got to do it as quick as they can, but they can't overlap Sony's bubble. Mm-hmm. You got to give them a couple weeks before and a couple weeks after, where you can't say anything now because you waited too long to pull the trigger. So
what day is February 20th?
I have no idea. And I hope to God it's not when I'm working.
Let's look that up really quick. It is a Wednesday. February 20th is a Wednesday.
I like it.
Yeah, right in the middle of the week.
We're not too far away. It's
15 days, sir.
Yeah.
15 days.
That's pretty recalculous.
Yeah.
I like it.
I just had an epiphany, which I kind of found interesting. Going back to a year ago, which I know we're gonna talk about for just a little minute, because we've got some celebrating ourselves to do. Do you remember exactly when you guys did the VitaCast?
It was episode 2.5.
2.5. Which episode 1 was 13, February 13th of last year. So episode 2 would have been the 20th.
So
2.5 would have been 25.
It was Tuesday night because the Vita dropped on Tuesday.
It's kind of interesting. It's almost exactly a year.
Are you trying to say we're going to do a midweek cast?
I'm just saying that Sony...
If there was ever an excuse, it'd be for more hardware reveals.
All I'm saying is that Sony released the Vita the middle of February last year, and here we are a year later, and they've got the date ready to go.
Yeah.
Just kind of interesting. So maybe a midweek cast is
in order.
In order there.
We can cover it.
Yeah.
Wait, if it's early enough and say Mark's off and you're not working till night or whatever, we can even do it like...
I can tell you I won't be working that day.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying we could even maybe all fucking pack in here, watch the announcement if it's at noon, and
do a commentary track for it.
10 minutes after the show's done, we could have.
We could also possibly do a it wouldn't be live, but we can do our own commentary track to the actual the event as it's taking place.
That would be a cool idea, but I personally think I would suffer because I need 10 or 15 minutes to process stuff. Where good ideas wouldn't hit me like as I'm watching it.
That's what the post show wrap up is for. So, it's an idea.
Very, very, very good idea, sir. Aside from that, I know most of our loyal listeners wouldn't forget, but if you're just an occasional listener tuning in this week, do not forget. Next week is our 1-year celebration. Of course, we're gonna have me, Jason, and Mark. We invited a bunch of special guests from throughout the course of this year that we've had on the show. Some of the longtime listeners may know a few of these people better if you've joined us more recently. Some of these people haven't been on in months, but we're still friends with them and stuff. So they may be new voices to you, or they may be people you haven't heard in a while. We invited, 7 or 8 people. We got a lot of yeses and a lot of maybes, so we don't know how people's work schedule is and stuff. We're hoping to have at least 5 or 6 of us together, some familiar voices that you guys have heard in the past. A little celebration. We don't know quite what we're doing with everything yet. We're going to detail out this week, but please do join us for that. If we do decide to live stream, we'll blast that on Facebook.
Yeah, we will give everybody plenty of notice. We're working out some details here, but we're going to have people on. We're going to do something cool.
But whether or not you have Facebook, just in case you don't follow us on there and you do listen to us, don't worry. 100%, regardless of if it's live streamed or anything like that, we will put up the audio format.
Most definitely.
Like normal, so don't worry, you won't miss anything.
Yeah. You might miss some news or something like that. We may change the format. We haven't decided because we're a bunch of procrastinators.
Yeah, we really wait for the last fucking minute.
Yeah,
we're probably not going to decide till Saturday, the day before we record, like, what are we doing, guys?
I guarantee you what's going to happen is Sunday afternoon.
We'll all be on the phone like,
what are we doing?
What are we doing? So, aside from that, did you have anything to add?
No.
All right, guys, this has been episode 52. Thanks for tuning in. Catch us next week, same time, same place.
Walking down the hall of the 5th grader swoon. Autograph line every day in homeroom. On the playground, all the kids like to point and whisper, check out his callus, guitar button blisters. I'm a 4th grade celebrity, plus the axe on my back and a Dragon Force tee. My teachers know that I'm the man, a walking, talking 10-year-old brand. Pepsi offered me Mad G's to drink Sobe exclusively. Guitar Hero, it's my song, flip the switch and then it's on. When I'm starting on my way and all my fans are in the stands, I'm waiting by my parents but they'll never understand. I've got a reputation for the man who's gotta be. I'm a guitar hero. Hey, that's me. They say Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil. I can beat through the fire and flames on expert level. Rocks the strip up and down LA. I push multicolored buttons on a stick all day. Dimebag route that dope harmonics. My 5 buttons are electronic. Clapton spilled his heart on Layla. I go playa. Hendrix lit his strat on fire. Generations were inspired. One day my songs could do the same. If I want someone takes it to the sky. I'm a player, I'm a hero. I'm your watch the little man. Invited to my homework where my teachers understand. Can't really spell a note in every gig I learn for free. I'm a guitar hero. Beating Call of Duty doesn't mean your aim is good. Beating Wii Golf doesn't make you Tiger Woods. Beating Apple make you any harder. Friends off MySpace won't make you a musician. Beating Operation doesn't make you a physician. Watching CSI doesn't make you a detective. Playing Mario Paint doesn't mean you have perspective. Reading Gears of War doesn't make you Winston Churchill. Quoting 90 sitcoms won't make you Steve Urkel. Grand Theft Auto doesn't make you a player. Playing Sim City doesn't make you a mayor. Beating Rock Band doesn't